This is Adria Richards, a good, honest feminist who believes in the power of prayer.
And that's really when I started getting more in touch with praying and doing yoga. And one of the things that would always be in my prayer is I would ask God to, help me surround myself with positive people.
Well, with God on your side, what could possibly go wrong, right? Especially when Adria is so keen to leave a legacy.
And I want to leave a legacy as well. A legacy of change, a legacy of inspiration, a legacy of integrity.
Well, it turns out she is going to leave a legacy, although not really one so much of integrity. So a couple of guys were joking about dongles at a tech conference. I know, witty pun on the word dongle, piece of hardware used for software protection, and also as a man's sexual organs. I know, contain yourselves. I mean, dongle jokes are clearly just such an offensive subject that they would never be included in, say, for instance, Super Bowl commercials.
Can I use a dongle with this? Does it make you uncomfortable when I use the word dongle?
And I know what you social justice warriors are thinking. Dongle jokes. This is exactly the sort of sexual harassment that needs to be stamped out at conferences by the implementation of anti-harassment codes and so forth. You know, the anti-harassment codes that will protect us from fake jewelry and saying things that people might find offensive.
We're not asking for anything crazy, just basic rules so that we can say, the sort of thing like making fake jewelry and intentionally offending people is not okay.
So a quick summary. Adria Richards hears someone cracking dongle jokes behind her at a tech conference. And rather than thinking, meh, dongle jokes at a tech conference, well, that's about as surprising as a Catholic pope.
Can I use a dongle with this? Does it make you uncomfortable when I use the word dongle?
No. She sees some picture of some young programmer and, in her own words, gets triggered and thinks this evil oppression of women by the use of dongle jokes must stop. In her blog, she actually says, I realised that I had to do something or she would never have a chance to learn and love programming because these arse clowns behind me would make it impossible for her to do so. Yeah, I'm sure, Adria. I'm sure dongle jokes are a significant barrier to entry to women in programming. But rather than following the conference procedure for reporting this heinous crime, she takes their picture and tweets it to some 10,000 people on Twitter. That really does make it look like you're more interested in mob justice than raising the pressing issue of dongle jokes to the conference organisers. Anyway, subsequently, one of the guys gets fired and sometime later, so does Adria, with her ex-company stating that, in the light of the events over the last 48 or so hours, it has become obvious that Adria's actions have strongly divided the same community she was supposed to unite. As a result, she can no longer be effective in her role at SendGrid. I'm fairly impressed they managed to stay away from words like trying to incite a lynching or mob justice. But instead they simply state her decision to tweet the comments and photographs of the people who made the comments crossed the line. Now, from where I'm standing, this is just political correctness gone wild on all fronts. People making jokes between themselves is none of your bloody business. Even if you are eavesdropping on their conversation at a conference, and even if you find that humour offensive. Look, let me give you an example about some offensive humour. Going back a ways, this is Stephen Colbert at the White House Correspondents' Dinner roasting the president. Now, these are a selection of jokes that would fall under the sexist, racist or exclusionary jokes that are not appropriate for PyCon. So firstly about the bloodbath in Iraq and the ineptitude of the US government to set up a stable government. Well, obviously a subject for humour.
I believe the government that governs best is the government that governs least, and by these standards we have set up a fabulous government in Iraq.
Or how about the planet being messed up for the next generation?
It's like boxing a glacier. Enjoy that metaphor, by the way, because your grandchildren will have no idea what a glacier is.
Or maybe joking about the racial, financial inequities of Washington, D.C.
Mayor Nagin is here from New Orleans, the chocolate city. Yeah, give it up. Mayor Nagin, I'd like to welcome you to Washington, D.C., the chocolate city with a marshmallow center. And a graham cracker crust of corruption. It's a Malamar, I guess is what I'm describing, as a Malamar.
Ooh, racial undertones. But I think he could have done better by making it a rich white centre. Yeah, the financial inequities of the capital of the United States, which largely follows racial lines, is shameful. Although if Colbert were telling the same joke today, he would doubtless have to give his Malamar a single chocolate chip centre. Racially offensive as the original joke? Arguably, yes. Making a point under the guise of humour? Definitely. Would I want political correctness to forbid almost all of the humour that went into Colbert's White House dinner speech from people's private conversations for fear that some eavesdropper might be offended? Fuck no. Sorry, boys, it really is this simple. You do not have the right to not be offended. Look, I'm a grown adult. I'm not a baby demanding that no one ever offend me, or that no one within earshot offends me, or that they should be held accountable by the conference police for anything that offends me, or anything that contradicts the way that I think society should be run. I mean, let's be real. What do you think the First Amendment would look like if it were written by such people? I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest it would look something like this, that your right to say things ends where my feelings begin.
Seriously here, I am just about a stereotypical hairy-legged feminist lesbian. Every single one of those things is true. Yeah, I can say all manner of words, you know, I have the right to do that. I have the freedom of speech. But my right to do that ends the second that somebody who is affected by those words hears me.
I'm not sure Brockman's out of the woods yet. There are a lot of religious watchdog groups out there, keeping the world safe from the horror of free expression.
And this is really highlighted by the feminist site Jezebel's retelling of this story. Richards didn't call for anyone to be fired. She wasn't hostile or irrational. She was outraged by one shitty Dongle joke. She was expressing an accumulated frustration at the persistent difficulty of carving out a space for women in the tech community. Fine, so you admit that her response wasn't rational, proportionate, or even professional, but based out of outrage and frustration. Men, you don't get that because you don't have to get it. You're not qualified to be dismissive of a lifetime of microaggressions until you have personally experienced a lifetime of microaggressions. Bullshit. Let me make this clear. Some of us have had pretty tough lives and have come through dogged determination and staying on target.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
We did not crumble at the first Dongle joke and expect the entire world to orientate itself around us to give us an easy ride. And if that's what you feminists are expecting, then it's no wonder you are such whiny underachievers. Quitters never win. Winners never quit. And those who never win or quit are idiots. Yeah, damn straight, online, I've not only suffered torrent of microaggressions, but torrent of macroaggressions. And the only time I got distracted into addressing this and making this the centre was when someone was impersonating me and setting up a porn account in my name with pictures of me photoshopped into porn, or when they were targeting my family. And you are bitching about Dongle jokes. Ugh, the crosses we have to bear. Look, bottom line, conferences should treat people like responsible adults, not children at daycare. We should try to maximise free speech at conferences for largely the same reason that we tried to maximise it in the First Amendment, and not limit it to protect the feelings of the most easily offendable person at the conference. And let me finish with some words from Adria's blog. Everyone must take personal accountability and speak up when they hear something that isn't okay. It takes 3 words to make a difference. That's not cool. Well, firstly, Adria, you're full of crap. Nagging is not a secret weapon of social change. You can say, that's not cool, all you want, and it will have no effect on my assessment of the problem whatsoever. because I assess problems based on their merits, not on whether or not it upsets the politically correct hypersensitivities of the easily offended. And this is why this social justice warrior slacktivism is as impotent as dongle jokes at tech conferences. But really, if you really think this is the way forward, fine, Adria. I just want you to know that your lack of humour, that's not cool.
Does it make you uncomfortable when I use the word dongle?